Hello. Welcome back to the Pitlane Collective Podcast. What was that? You just couldn't wait to say it, could you?
I went to say hello, and then you carried on, and I was like, "Don't stand on him," but the air came out anyway.
That's going to be a clip. So if you listen to the last episode, you'll know we were going to do 2 slightly shorter episodes this week. Last episode was just a really quick recap of the stories that went on post the Saudi race. This one's going to be a quick preview of the Australia race, which we've waited 2 weeks for by the time the weekend comes around. Yeah. You had a couple of things you wanted to discuss about the Oz.
I did. Obviously, yeah. We're back in Melbourne again.
We're back racing again.
And then, obviously, for the past, I don't even know how long, but for the past, well, plenty of years, there's been a certain Aussie on the grid.
Oh, it won't be the same.
At Melbourne. And we ain't got Ricardo anymore, have we?
It just won't be the same. Hopefully he turns up somewhere.
I'm sure he will. Obviously, he's got that sort of development role with Red Bull.
Yeah.
It wouldn't even surprise me if they put him in to do a couple of laps in like an older Red Bull, or maybe even in a practice or something like that. But even though we haven't got Ricardo on the grid racing, we've got a new Aussie.
We have, yeah, one that's still got a lot to prove, still very new. A certain Oscar Piastri.
Yeah.
Who will be wanting to do really well in this race. Naturally, everyone wants to do really well in the home race. I'm not so sure he's got the car to actually do very well in his home race. Do you think he can break top 10?
I'm going to put my neck out there and say maybe, yeah. Okay. I think he can, because I was looking back at last year and the sort of the form that McLaren had in the first 2 races, Bahrain and Saudi. It was terrible last year. And then they suddenly made a massive leap and finished, I think, 4th and 5th.
Yeah.
In Australia. Now, I'm not necessarily saying that that's just going to happen again, but I do wonder if like McLaren car, for whatever reason, just doesn't suit those first 2 races. And then
it's a slow waker-upper.
Might come alive a little bit more.
Yeah, maybe. I hope so.
But I'd like to see him do well.
I was going to say, I know we've discussed McLaren, just a team you want to do well, I think. So yeah, I would like to see them get a bit better, a bit more competitive. Plus, I think they belong up there as well.
The car looks poo currently. It looks really bad, doesn't it?
What poos are you having? Covered in billboards?
Yeah, luminous orange ones. But like, it doesn't...
Stay off the buttocka.
Just eating carrots constantly. It doesn't look great.
No, so it is just it's a moving billboard, isn't it?
It is. It's basically just
the chrome wheels are cool,
but I'd like to see Oscar be able to do something with it. Obviously, we can't talk about Oscar without Lando also being able to do something with it. But as it's Oscar's home race, and they actually had quite a good little race between themselves. I mean, it was right at the back in Saudi, but. Oscar looked like he was taking it to Lando a little bit, so I hope he has a good race.
I do as well, and I think I'm really interested to see how their relationship goes throughout the season, because I know Lando, I like Lando. I think he's a great driver, but I also think he's a bit susceptible to getting a bit childish sometimes, and a bit like, I know when Daniel came into the team, he felt really threatened, didn't he?
Yeah.
His position felt threatened, so I wonder if Piastri puts in a few good performances, maybe beats him, how that'll affect him.
Do you think it'll rattle him a bit?
Yeah, I think it will rattle him, because I think he firmly believes himself to be the number 1 driver, which is right, I think. If there is such a thing at McLaren, he would certainly be that, and he definitely was when Daniel was there, because Daniel just wasn't performing. But how long will it be if Piastri keeps beating him and maybe puts in better performances? I think he would, yeah. I think he would. He's the type to get a bit rattled, a bit really defensive. He seems to come out. Yeah, that's one of the side plots really that I'm looking forward to this season, is to see how them two get on. Because it says it even took Ricardo like a little while to break him, and for them to become sort of friendly. I know Lando was a bit standoffish at first, but yeah, it'll be interesting, that one.
Yeah, it's kind of a make or break year for Lando, really. Then, isn't it?
Do you think?
I think that if Piastri kind of beats him, like, convincingly, then I do think it kind of it would shake kind of. I think Lando's a great driver, but I think if Piastri kind of not wipes the floor with him, but if he beats him convincingly in certain races or qualifying and how the head-to-head goes throughout the season, I do think it would bring Lando's stock down as a driver a bit, or it would definitely launch Piastri's stock all the way.
And
up
he's
there.
already got a pretty high stock, hasn't he? I know when he came in from F2 to F1, a lot of teams were sniffing around him to get his signature. So his stock's already pretty high. I don't know. I can't look past Lando's future being in one of the top teams. I can just see him there. As you say, he's a great driver. I think the extra experience he's now got on Piastri,
should help.
I think I'm seeing a similar situation with when Russell went to Mercedes. You know, that kind of I can just see him taking that trajectory, not necessarily to Mercedes, but to one of them. Red Bull,
jumping up.
Red Bull, Mercedes, maybe Ferrari if he'd want to do that.
Yeah,
if he'd want to put himself through that agony.
Why?
Maybe even Aston Martin.
Yeah,
if Aston Martin keep on the form they're doing, and maybe Alonso retires in a year or two, maybe taking that seat if they're still up there as well.
Alonso's going to be driving when he's 80.
Yeah,
he's gonna still be racing in 30 years time. It's going to be interesting to see that kind of like how Lando deals with that pressure if it comes, and like how Piastri kind of handles it as well. And maybe things will get a little testy, a little frosty.
I think so.
We'll see. But hopefully, Oscar had a great qualifying last time out. Hopefully he can do the same here. Hopefully McLaren can jump up a little bit. I don't think anyone's happy seeing them all the way down there.
No.
So for his home race, let's see how Piastri gets on.
Points would be nice for them, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would. I wanted to bring up the fact that Alonso scored his 100th podium and then didn't score it, and then scored it at the last race. 2
podiums in one race.
Yeah.
That's pretty good going, isn't it?
And there is a stat that's been floating around on Instagram which says that every driver who scores 101 podiums on their 101st podium, it's a race win.
Wow. I like that. Opta stats over there.
So, I mean, there's 5 drivers who've scored 101 podiums or more. Only 5, which is insane. And all of them have won on their 101st podium. So you got Prost in 1993, Schumacher in 2002, Hamilton in 2016, and both Vettel and Raikkonen in 2018. Will Alonso be number 6 on that list?
We'll save that because we're going to do the predictions at the end of this episode.
That's true.
And I can't wait to see if you really stick your neck out there and say he's going to win this race.
Believe.
But it is a really cool and
little stat,
and strange stat, yeah. So if he can, maybe there's mystic arts at play.
I think it's always fun when these sorts of things come up because there's always patterns and stuff, isn't there, that kind of develop, and then you read way too much into them and it's like, nah, it's just kind of,
you start believing in aliens and that.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think Raikkonen won in 2018, but his last win before that was like 2013. So there's definitely some sort of little chances, but that's a fun little stat to keep an eye on.
It's also crazy, or is it? I don't know, that only 5 drivers have scored 101 podiums.
It blew my mind a bit.
That's in itself, that's a mad stat, isn't it? Yeah, I think.
Yeah, it blew my. I thought that there would be more, but apparently not.
Probably add Verstappen to that in a few years.
Yeah, like a couple of months, maybe. I don't know, depending. But so I guess talk of predictions. Shall we jump into that? How are you sort of seeing the teams and the driver order kind of shaking out from Saudi to from Jeddah to Melbourne to Albert Park?
Well, do you want me to do my predictions?
I do.
Yeah. So I think Max is going to get back to winning ways on this one. I think Max is going to go back to winning ways.
We're going to have to start doing predictions without the top 2, aren't we? Oh, or are we?
So I've been thinking about this, right? And this is either going to make me look really stupid or a genius. I think Alonso is going to get second.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And I'm going to add this to my predictions, right, that I think, just to make me sound even more impressive if it happens, I think Perez is going to suffer reliability issues.
Oh, okay, yeah.
and I'm not going to have him in my top 5. Are we doing?
Yeah, we'll do
top
five.
5.
Yeah.
I'm not going to put him in there, just because I've just had this feeling floating around my head that he's going to Max is going to clip something.
Just on the grid beforehand with a screwdriver, just take it.
And then in 3rd, I'm going to go with Russell on the podium.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why, but in the last few episodes that we've done, I've somehow been really blowing Mercedes' horn. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I've really been in their corner, like on the last episode, the last week's race episode that we did. I was saying they probably got the second best car on the grid. I was really trying to come on.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
You were fighting for them, weren't you?
I really don't know why. But yeah, that's what I'm going to go with. This is because part of the reason why I'm doing this as my top 5 is because normally our top 5s are so boring. Like, you know what? Let's just see if something crazy happens, and I'll look a genius.
You just shuffle the deck of cards and gone, right, okay. Yeah. I think Piastri's going to win.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. And then I'm going to go with Leclerc.
Okay.
In 4th and Stroll in 5th.
Wow. Okay, that's interesting. I like that.
That's what I'm gonna go with. And I'm sticking with it. And I'm either gonna look really stupid, or you're gonna be coming to me for betting tips.
Yeah. Well,
especially if Perez does have reliability issues, mate.
I definitely think you're onto one with the Red Bull reliability.
You don't call me Mystic Josh.
Yeah, they still don't.
Even after this.
But I think that's an interesting one. I think I would probably go a little safer on mine, just because I actually feel like the Red Bulls, even though they have, they've had some reliability niggles in the past 2 races. I think that they've managed to pull away a little bit and then just manage them. They kind of blast off into the distance and then shut the car down a little bit and just kind of coast it home.
It seems to be, unless the issue stops at the car, it doesn't matter anyway.
Yeah, they just kind of keep rolling and stuff. So, unfortunately, my top 2 predictions are a little dull. Kind of my top 3, really, because I've gone a little bit kind of samey. I've gone Max, Perez, Alonso. Although I would love to see, if one of the Red Bulls has issues, I'd love to see something else climbing up. And then I've gone for Leclerc and Hamilton.
Oh, so you've done the old swap-a-rooney on the Mercedes.
I've done a switch because I actually think that, and it's probably not, it's not based on any actual evidence, but last year Ferrari were incredible in Australia. Mm-hmm. Leclerc just drove away and won the race. No one was anywhere near him. And I'm struggling to see that, clearly that track suited their car a lot better, whereas in Jeddah they were much more kind of even with the Red Bulls. So I'm thinking that Ferrari dropped a little bit, sort of relative to Red Bull in Jeddah this year, but hopefully they'll close back
the
up.
Gap a bit.
Yeah, if the sort of characteristics work the same way. So yeah, I've put Leclerc 4th, and then I think just because Hamilton, I don't really know why I put him in 5th. I've just got a sort of sneaking suspicion he'll be around. He'll be up there.
I don't think it's a wild prediction, because I think the Mercedes is definitely capable of 5th.
Yeah,
100%. Interestingly though, I think it's strange because I know we've both done it on previous predictions. I actually haven't on this one, but you have still. Stroll.
Yeah, just ignored Stroll. I know.
Even though he's in the same machinery as Alonso.
I don't feel like he's... I feel like he's shown that he's really quick. And to be fair to him, in the past, he's shown that as well. Yeah. He's just super inconsistent at the moment.
He is inconsistent, yeah.
I wouldn't put it past him to be in the wall somewhere.
Yeah.
Or to have clipped someone and lost a bit of front wing or got a puncture or something like that. I feel like I'm being a bit harsh on him there.
No, I don't think so, because I think his inconsistency is the reason that I did Mercedes second in my constructors' predictions.
Yeah.
I think if he was more consistent, that would have switched. I would have put Aston Martin in second, but because of that, I think Russell and Hamilton are more consistent drivers, and therefore will gain more points accumulatively throughout the season. So now I'm with you on that. But I just think it's interesting. I've seen a lot of people's on my Instagram and other stuff and most of them do the same when they do predictions. Stroll's just not there at all.
Mm.
So it seems to be like Alonso is either like overdriving that car and getting like 120% out of it, or Stroll is really not.
Yeah, I mean, in fairness, like I guess Stroll's had an injury in the first race, and then the car broke down. It wasn't his fault in the second one. So you never know. We could see him right behind Alonso or right with Alonso even. I
mean, I don't think it's not like it's not a secret that Alonso's a much better driver.
Yeah.
So even in the same machinery, he's probably going to beat Stroll every time. But it's just interesting that, like, because I think it's kind of the same with Perez. It's like he's in so much better machinery, yet he, like say in the first race, for instance, he's not as far ahead as Max is.
Yeah.
Other cars can get a bit closer to him because he's just maybe not as good a driver as Max is. I think it's kind of the same with these two. But like you see in the last race, he manages to win the race because the machinery. It was a great drive from him as well. Machinery really gets him over the like it bridges the gap between ability and the capability of the car.
Yeah, that's what we're seeing quite a lot this year anyway, isn't it? It's the sort of 2x2 thing of like the Red Bulls, the Astons or whatever. It'll be interesting to see if it mixes up like we've predicted here. I'd love to see a proper... I think realistically the Red Bulls are probably going to drive off into the distance, but I'd love to... Or Perez is going to explode. But I'd love to see... I mean, I'd love to see everyone fighting, but I'd love to see the sort of the Astons, the Mercedes and the Ferraris having a proper battle and being on pace with each other, because I think we were kind of denied that in the last race. But yeah, I guess those are our predictions then. We haven't seen any running, any practice because they're not there yet, so maybe we're wrong.
We probably are.
Because I think we're going to try and put this episode out around sort of free practice 1 or 2 or something like that. So let us know how wrong we've been, or if we're onto a winner. And yeah, I guess we'll be back for the episode discussing the Australian Grand Prix.
So let's hope it was a good one.
Next week.
Loads to discuss, and there was stuff happening everywhere.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Do you know what? I want a wet race.
Yeah.
I really want... I don't know how common it is. I don't feel like it's very common in Melbourne. I'd love a wet race.
It doesn't feel like it's very common.
No.
It doesn't feel like it ever rains in Australia.
No. So if you're in Australia, please do a rain dance or something.
Yeah.
And get us
a wet
race.
Not that it'll stop Max, because he's notoriously a very good wet driver.
Yeah.
But it might make the rest of the grid be a bit closer.
It just spice things up a little bit. I'd love to see one. But yeah, I guess that's our sort of little preview of
little aperitif.
Yeah.
For the race.
Little sort of starter for the race weekend for you, and we'll catch you on the flip side and see how it's gone.
We will. And just before we go, we said in the last episode, let us know if you like these shorter form, bite-sized podcasts. If you do, we will keep doing them. If not, let us know. Just let us know what you want to see in them. Really, we're using this time as to kind of experiment our way through the format of what it's going to be going forward. So your input would be greatly appreciated. And
if you're not already, give us a follow on Instagram and TikTok. We are tpc.pod.
Well remembered.
Yeah, I was frantically searching for that in my brain there. And until then, the next episode we'll see you.
We will.
Ciao.
See you then. Thank you.
Goodbye.